welcome to Creative Obsession, which is a video series I'm going to try to do once a month, where I deep dive into kind of my artist inspirations for the month, or just artists that are doing cool stuff. So hopefully this helps you find a bit of inspiration for your own work. Today I'm going to be sharing some pretty incredible artists that each kind of have their own unique style. So let's get into it. To start this off, I'm just going to say that a lot of these artists' names I'm pretty terrible at pronouncing, so apologies in advance if I get these wrong. But the first artist of today is Kwani, or Kwani. Not too sure how to say that correctly, but I'll pop it up so you can read it for yourself. So she's a Korean American artist whose work kind of blends abstract and figurative styles, often exploring identity and the feeling of being out of place. So she is somebody who, growing up, often moved around a lot, and in an interview that I kind of read recently, she talked a lot about how she felt closer connecting to animals more than she did with people. So that connection with animals was kind of formed through the frustration of not being able to communicate. So a lot of her work is kind of exploring those themes. I fell in love with Kwani's work more on a visual aspect rather than kind of the narratives behind her pieces. But for me, I especially love a lot of her older works. They kind of have like a layered, grungy feel to them. I personally love just kind of all the different mixes of mediums that she uses, and just a small little layering of lots of different elements. For example, like small little trad flames, stars, just simple line work to kind of build out the main figure that she's painting, rather than just kind of blocking out something as you would like normally perceive it. Her newer work's definitely a bit different. I feel like her color palette's kind of gone a little bit simpler, but still I personally love all her work, but her older work for me really hits best. Now, the interviews that I read of Kwani's work, she has a lot more influence behind her paintings, being so well traveled and so well versed in different cultures and histories. She does pull a lot of that into her works. Honestly, when I kind of read some of her interviews, I feel incredibly stupid and completely uncultured, so I'll leave that up to you guys to go look further into her work if you're interested in it. But yeah, she's definitely someone I recommend checking out. Next up is an artist that, if you're on Instagram, you probably have seen his work because he posts fucking almost a painting every day. It's kind of amazing how often he actually makes paintings. But this one is Henrik Hermes, also known as Bendoso Bandido, if I said any of that correct, which I believe translates to kind bandit. Now, this artist is a favorite of mine and also a massive favorite of a lot of my friends. He definitely has some very unique views on how he likes to share his art and kind of where his art should be displayed and all of that. But I'm not really going to dive too deep into his bio. There's already a video on YouTube from Hometown Journal, which if you guys haven't checked out Hometown Journal's YouTube, I definitely recommend doing that also. They make some pretty amazing videos, some pretty like just natural raw videos of artists kind of just in their space doing their thing. So yeah, go check out his video. Watching that and him actually explaining his process and everything is probably the best way to learn about this artist. I'll pop up a few of his works, but yeah, definitely recommend going and watching that YouTube video. So the things I personally love about his works is just the airbrush techniques. Definitely is something that I want to incorporate into my art. Just like another medium that I want to use to help express the narratives in my paintings. I find some of his kind of like softer, more blown out versions of the airbrush kind of look like blown out tattoos, which is visually a cool technique, I reckon. But yeah, make sure you go check out that video and his art. Alright, third on the list we have David Bicari, I think his name is, also known as Lebicar. Lebicar, I'm not sure. So his work's kind of known for these kind of simple one-line drawings. When I say simple, he does an incredibly good job at them, and I think his work looks amazing. I'm personally like a massive fan of one-line drawings. I think it's super sick when you can pull them into really cool images. But I originally first found his work through Instagram. He was doing this kind of series where he was doing a flower a day. So every single day he would do a one-line drawing of a flower. I kind of started following that journey pretty early on in that kind of series that he was doing, and it's personally like insane to see where his work is now. I think he's up to something like 400 or 300 days in a row of doing them, but it's kind of crazy to see how actually just posting regularly on Instagram can really help with like the algorithm like that. I'll definitely probably deep dive more into him in another video on the social media side of things. I want to kind of try and make some of these series episodes kind of more focused on certain aspects, like one social media artists that do really cool jobs at that and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been just wild to watch his like growth as an artist. Obviously just starting off just by doing those videos that are pretty simple and just easy to bang out every day, and now he's doing some massive collaborations with some massive brands. Did like a big collaboration with a football club. He's also kind of branched out into doing like these big metallic one-line sculptures. Pretty just dope to see like how much his work is blowing up. He did a exhibition recently and the whole exhibition was like so well designed. So yeah, definitely recommend following him on social media. I believe he's got his own YouTube channel, I think, where he does cooking, and in general he just looks like the nicest dude ever. So it's always cool to see somebody that's a genuinely nice person that creates cool art and is finding success. Alright, so next we have Jeff Sifford. So in my last video, my last one of these that I did was like my 5 artist inspirations. I covered Calder Jacobs, which Calder Jacobs is a massive favorite for I think a lot of artists, because I had so many of you guys reach out to me saying that you were inspired by Calder Jacobs' work. So I thought Jeff would be a pretty good one to include in this. So I believe Jeff is primarily a traditional tattoo artist. I kind of just see him as an artist in general, but his painting style kind of echoes Calder Jacobs. I've seen Calder Jacobs even commenting on a lot of his stuff, so I don't know if they even know each other or whatever. But yeah, if you're into Calder Jacobs' work, you're most likely probably into Jeff's work as well. But for me, with Jeff's work, he's done a couple of paintings where he's used spray paint dripping over kind of his traditional designs. And yeah, I personally just love these paintings that he did, and overall, yeah, it's just like really like well executed use of using different mediums. So yeah, I really just wanted to share those pieces with you. I don't know a whole lot about Jeff, but hopefully those pieces might inspire some of your own works or just inspire you to try out a new medium. Alright, so last up we have HUNTSOUL. I believe that's kind of like his art name, art brand sort of thing, but he's probably up there on the list of one of my favorite artists right now. He's somebody that's literally kind of created the whole like world environment around his art, which I specifically love. So HUNTSOUL is a Chinese artist who creates crazy detailed works. They're almost kind of like meditative works using heaps of tiny dots, layers of lines, and all sorts of colors to kind of form his final piece. Honestly, he's probably somebody that, or an artist that when I look at, I can't even really pull inspiration from his work, because it's just like so insanely good and so technical, and he's put so much time into these works. Now I don't know if it's his YouTube channel or his friend has a YouTube channel which has like a heap of different episodes. They were like talking about his art and all this kind of stuff, but watching those you can kind of get an insight into his mindset and the journey he's currently working towards. But he talks a lot about actually not having inspiration for his art, which I think is very unique and different to a lot of artists. For him, he kind of talks about art just being like an act of meditation and generally just a place for him to go and quiet his mind, which I thought was super dope. I mean, I think it's just a great reminder that there's so many ways that you can tackle art, whether you focus more on a narrative perspective or you want your audience to have their own kind of narrative or perspective, or literally the way that he does it is literally just creating art out of pure creativity, which is incredibly impressive. And I don't even know, the details in his works are insane. He also does these massive large scale sculptures, little figurines. He's got like such a big variety of different mediums that he works with. Does like poured acrylics and just so much, like kind of just every sort of medium I guess you can think of. But yeah, for me he's a massive inspiration, because like creating kind of like a whole world around your art or like a theme, and having like, I really want to get into doing sculpture stuff one day as well with my own art. I think it's just really cool. He's built like a really cool brand around his art, and I think he's probably somebody that will be like a crazy well-known and big artist in the future. I mean, he's already pretty massive. I guess you probably don't hear about him as much kind of in Western society, but yeah, I definitely recommend going and following his Instagram. I'll drop a link down below to the kind of YouTube channel which talks a lot about his art and shows his process and things like that. But yeah, I'll also drop all the other links to all the other artists down below as well, so it's super easy for you guys to go follow them all. Yeah, I hope you guys like this video. I personally love sharing artists that inspire me And also making these videos, it kind of forces me to dig a little bit deeper into the artists that I like and figure out like why they're making the art that they make. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was insightful and gave you guys some inspiration. I'm gonna try and make these videos at least once a month, so subscribe if you wanna see more of this, and also let me know on ways I can improve these videos, whether you want actually more information about these artists or whether you like just getting a quick overview and going to learn about them yourselves. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.